We have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. I'm so honored to be here with you all today. And as you know, we're preparing for the holidays. Some of you may be watching this at some point as a replay, but right now, today's date is November 19th. It's Tuesday, November 19th, and I'm so honored to have with us today Robin M. Wilson. How are you, Robin?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Kim?
I'm doing great. I've had you before, so I'm so honored to have you back. And I should have tagged. You know who I should have tagged was Terry. Is it Terry Brinston who referred you?
Yes, Terry Preston.
I remember.
And I'm honored to be back.
Yeah, it's such. I'm gonna tag her if I can. Yeah, I got it. I'm so excited to have you back. And today we actually have you back in a whole different capacity.
Yes.
So this is going to be quite exciting. Listen, everybody, grab your virtual seats. Let us know where you're visiting in from and tag your friends and family, especially if you're looking to be a creative entrepreneur. There are a lot of different angles to entrepreneurship, but this one today is coming from the perspective of being a creative entrepreneur. What does that mean to you before I even introduce you formally to everyone? What does being a creative entrepreneur mean to you?
To me, being a creative entrepreneur means using my God-given gifts and my talents and my skills to bring in multiple streams of income. That's what it means to me. And also to use my gifts and my talents and my skills to solve problems and have an impact on my community. So that's what it means to be a creative entrepreneur to me.
Yay. You know what? I think very similar as far as being creative is, in my opinion, just letting God use me in whatever capacity he feels he needs to use me to salt this earth and to make a difference in the lives of those that I come in contact with. And some of the things are things that are for me personally, and others are things that are to benefit other people, period. Some of them I may not even necessarily have even shown an interest in, but because it can be a path to success for someone else, and I'm just the vehicle that can help get them there. Is a blessing.
So that's right. We can most definitely use our gifts, talents, and skills to better not only our own lives, but to better the lives of others. So I'm in agreement with you on that.
Yay. All right. So listen, I want to formally introduce you. I got to get my bifocals for that. the reading glasses. Robin M. Michelle Wilson is an educator, a children's author, entrepreneur, and a multidisciplinary visual artist. Her work explores the relationship between history and the current social constructs. Working in abstract, collage, and fiber, Robin's practice analyzes African American family traditions, historical lineages, as well as cultural inheritances through applications of memory, research, and storytelling. Now, I'm not going to read her whole bio because it's so much to her. I want her to talk about it in her backstory, but I'm so honored to have you here today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So welcome to you, Robin.
Thank you for having me.
And I want you, if you would, just take us back, because I see so much that you teach as an adjunct professor at the University of Detroit Mercy in Detroit. You're founder and owner of Vesey Lane Goods, which we're going to talk heavily about today, which is a Detroit-based stationery company. So take us back on your journey and who Robin M. Wilson is.
Yes. Well, I am a creative. I've always been creative, even since I was younger. In my journey to getting to this point, really has not necessarily been a straight path, but I'm thankful for my journey. As you mentioned, I'm also an educator. I'm also a writer and a children's author. And so I use my skills and I use my talents in a number of ways. I started my company, Vesey Lane Goods, 2 years ago. And when you first had me on your show, I was really excited to share with you because we were really just starting out at that point. I started out at local market days and I wanted to really test out the market and see how individuals responded to my handcrafted greeting cards. Now, I'm a sentimental person.
Oh no, yes, I can tell that.
Yes, I love greeting cards, and I have greeting cards that individuals, family members, friends have given me going all the way back to when I was in high school. And so some of those cards I keep and I treasure not only because of who gave them to me, but some of the individuals who gave me those greeting cards are no longer living. And so they have a sentimental value to them too. And it's a way of remembering, those who have loved me and who I love. And so when I decided to take my greeting cards to local market days, I really was just trying to see what the response would be because I think that I bring a level of joy to my creation process. And once I started to receive positive feedback from customers and I started selling a lot of my greeting cards at local market days, another friend of mine who's also an artist, she invited me to come to what is called the Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club. And when I started going to the Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club, and selling my cars started selling at auction. So other artists and art collectors started to collect my work.
Okay.
And it was there where I actually met a gallerist at the Hannon Center here in Detroit. And he invited me to meet with him and discuss carrying my greeting cards in the gallery's store. And so that was my first opportunity and my first gateway into the retail marketplace with my greeting cards. And now, fast forward 2 years later, I now have a brick and mortar. We are in the East Village community on the east side of Detroit. We're located at 9920 Kercheval in Detroit. And we have been here now for almost 3 months. And the journey has been amazing. The community has really embraced us, and we're happy to be here. And so now I'm in a position where I can not only continue to make and sell my greeting cards in my store,
Right.
but I also am privileged because I also sell the works of other artists in the city of Detroit and even some that live in other states.
That's really good.
Mhm.
Congratulations, because the last time we were on, that wasn't the case. And so back
That's
behind you,
right.
is that some of your work too?
So actually behind me, I have the works of various local female artists here in the city of Detroit, many of which are part of what's called the Amber Collective, which is a collective of women artists here in the city of Detroit. And I'm also a part of the Amber Collective. The work that you see behind me is a I call it a visual ode to Detroit. It is by Ida Hawkins and it's called Unforgettable Love. And it's a tribute to the city of Detroit. And so, what you see behind me are girls playing in front of a fountain.
Oh, so
You can,
sweet.
yes, you can also see a trumpet and you see different landmarks that are iconic here in the city of Detroit, such
Mhm.
as um, you can see if you look behind me, you can see the Charles H. Wright Museum, you can see the DIA, the Detroit Institute of Arts. There's different landmarks that she painted, and the other works that are
Beautiful.
behind me are also reflective of different cultural landscapes, and it's a part of our heritage landscape exhibit, which we currently have here in our store on one of our gallery walls.
I love that. Now, is this all in person that you have to come and do the shopping, or can you do it virtually as well through the website Vesey Lane Goods?
Yes. So you can shop for the artwork online or in person. In fact, recently I sold a piece by the artist. Her name is Dianetta Dye. She's a Detroit-based artist, and her work was sold to a professor from Princeton who visited our store recently, and I was really pleased for her because we've been getting quite a few visitors, not only from the local area, but also this is an area that is surrounded by bed and breakfasts, and so
Yes.
sometimes we will also have individuals who are coming from out of state to visit with friends or to see the city, and they come into our store. And it just so happened that on that particular day about 3 weeks ago, I was able to talk to a woman who was from New Jersey, and it turns out that she's a Princeton professor, and she purchased Dianetta Dye's artwork. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you don't you have
Yes.
no clue who's going to come online or in person and
Right.
experience this and fall in love. I'm going to share with you all some of this because this
Yes.
is unbelievable. I'm going to show you all what I'm seeing here. Hold on. 'Cause this is
Yes.
big. I'm much
Yes, and
more of
I
a visual.
also have some other pieces of work that
Hmm,
I would like to share with your viewers as well, that are by various artists,
hmm,
women artists here in the city of Detroit. And
right.
we have artwork and different home goods and products on our website, which is www.vclanegoods.com. But we also have a wide range of items that we offer here in our store. And so we have several different artists that you're looking at their works right now. The one that has the sun that you can see, the woman that is standing centered. That particular work was done by an artist named Patricia Kabori, and Pat Kabori, she is 85 years old, and she's such a vibrant woman, and she's a magnificent artist. Actually, one of the works that we have of hers here in the store is a second edition of a work that currently is a part of the permanent collection at the Smithsonian.
Mm,
And and so I'm just really honored to have the works by the different artists that we have here in our store. And we, in addition to um, having different artworks by local artists here in our store, we're a stationery company. So VC Lane Goods, we specialize in greeting cards, gifts,
wow.
and home decor. And because I started out creating my own designs and creating my own greeting cards, that's still very much a part of our offerings. You can see that also on the images that you see, the birthday card that you see right there. I actually wrote the messaging on the card, and I created the design. And so when it comes to my work, I have more of what I call a vintage mod
Yes.
style, a
I can
vintage
tell. I
mod
love
style.
this.
Yes. And I use different materials when I'm making my greeting cards. So I'm known to use a lot of different fibers in creating my greeting cards. And that's really where my fiber artwork really comes into play. When I'm creating my cards, I use different items such as leather, buttons. I've used actually I can show you. I have
Yes.
some of my greeting cards near me, and I'll also share with you some of the works by the other artists that I mentioned to you. But this is
Please.
an example of
Oh,
one of the greeting cards that I've designed, and you can
right.
see how I incorporated the buttons into the design, and I used different colored paper and contrasted the colors by layering them. And I love vintage photos. So this is actually a stock photo that you see.
Mm,
And some people use stock photos in scrapbooking, but I love to use them in my greeting card designs. And this woman, she looks so stylish and classy, and I just love this image. And so this is one of my greeting cards. And
that's
then this is a
beautiful.
thank you so much. This is another example of one of my greeting cards that I actually used leather, and I used some African wax fabric that I had left over from a project that I did. And I don't waste my materials. So if I have some scraps left over, I always try to find a way to use them in my card designs. And so this is another one that I made. And then this is one that I created, and I just thought this little girl, she looks just so precious and
Yes.
confident at just such a young age, you know.
Hmm.
And I just really loved this picture, and so I used it in my design. And so these are just a
Wow.
couple of my designs, but
Beautiful, beautiful,
yes.
beautiful. They are
Yes.
beautiful. My
Thank you.
goodness. Man,
Thank
okay.
you.
I am thoroughly impressed. And so I'm trying to visualize. It's one thing to be an artist, which you are clearly, but it's another thing to go
Mhm.
to this product-based situation where now you have brick and mortar. And when we're talking from a balance perspective, how do you balance that level of transition from your perspective as an entrepreneur now, brick and mortar business owner, promoting all kinds of other people's products and services?
Yes. Well, I'm thankful to my family because my family provides me with a lot of support. You know, sometimes it's the people who are behind the scenes that are like, you know, the heroes and the sheroes, and I'm thankful. I have a really supportive husband, and I have a supportive community as well. When we opened our doors on September the 7th, we had more than 70 people come through our doors on that day. And it was a soft opening. At least that's what I planned for. But you know what? God had other plans. And, I have a friend, Mary. She said, well, you planned for a soft opening and God gave you a grand opening.
A
Yeah.
grand opening.
Yes, and so, even in terms of my family, I have had a chance to meet a lot of people from the community who I did not know before we opened our doors, and they have become my customers. They're on, our email list, and I'm thankful for them. But I'm also thankful for my family because, like, I'm telling you, since we opened, my family has come in, they've shot with me, they've supported me in different ways. And I don't take that for granted because everyone doesn't have that, and I recognize that. But I also really am thankful for the relationships that I have with other artists, because when I reached out to my artist buddies, I call them, and I let them know that I was opening my first brick and mortar. They said, okay, well, let us know what the theme is for your first exhibit, and we're going to, submit work so that you can have them on display and sell them in your store. And, not only does that take having solid relationships, but it takes trust too,
That's right.
because when, I know how I feel about my artwork and when I'm creating my work, and I'm thankful for the individuals who have supported me along my journey. Like I mentioned to you earlier today, there was a gallerist who saw my work at the Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club, and he saw something in my work and gave me an opportunity to have my work carried in his store. And so now, the way that I see it is that I'm now in a position to do the same thing for other artists who are building their careers, and as artists as well as creative entrepreneurs like myself. And you know what? I'm a firm believer that the seeds that we plant, they will germinate. Currency is not always green, and sometimes you never know how the relationships that you're cultivating today, how they're going to come into play later on in life. And there may even be an artist who's coming behind me that I can support. But you know what? You never know when you may need someone in the future. And so for me, bringing in other artists into the space and featuring their work and selling their work, to me is like planting seeds that I know will germinate not only and grow for them, but it's a benefit to me, to support other artists and to see them grow and to see their work sell, and to know that they're a part of my journey as well.
Yes, it sounds like you're so passionate and compassionate, and I think you have to have some level of compassion towards others to even desire to see them want to succeed. I see a comment from
That's
you,
right.
one from you, Kimberly. You said they are absolutely beautiful pieces of work, is what she said, from Richmond, Virginia. And
Thank
I wanted
you.
to find out, with you being a part of it, was, I think it was the Quilters Network, African, the Great Lakes African American Quilters Network, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
now, how did that play a role with you being a member in that capacity to be able to leverage how you've grown even professionally in your brick and mortar experience?
Yes. Well, one of my mentors and friends is April a New Ship, and she's a prominent quilter based here in the city of Detroit. And I started taking classes with her because I was doing my own form of quilting, but I wanted to learn the foundations of quilting. And so I started taking classes with her because there was actually another artist friend of mine who introduced me to her work. And that was actually Jean Alicia Elster. I wanted to give her some credit and shout out.
Shout
But
out to
she,
you, Jean.
yes. And so once I started taking classes, quilting classes with April, she actually introduced myself and the other quilters to the organization, and I had a chance to go to a quilting conference in Cleveland, Ohio, just even earlier this year. And I'm telling you, when you find your people, you find your people, and those are my people. I mean, just I don't know any quilter who is not a good person. Like most quilters that I have met, have just been really grounded and down to earth. But I learned so much from other quilters. And as a fiber artist myself, there are certain techniques that I learned from them that I not only incorporate in my quilt making, but that I also reinterpret, I would say, and use different techniques and greeting card making that go outside of the norm. And I think that that's a part of creative entrepreneurship too, is surrounding yourself with other people who have maybe perhaps more experience, or have different skill sets that you really want to hone, and then using that knowledge and that creativity that you possess to create items that people want or that solve problems for people. So it definitely has benefited me to be in community with other artists, especially quilters. In April, a new ship, along with Jean Elster, they both have come in and supported me here at the store in different ways. And so I'm grateful.
Mm, very grateful. I do see
Yeah.
someone asking a question. Kimberly said, "Hey, do you take artists' work from other cities and states? Because I have a talented person right in my home." And I concur with
Yes.
her, because I have several talented people in my home that are artists as well. So I need to know that answer too.
Yes. So Patricia Kabori, who I mentioned to you, while she is originally from Detroit, she currently lives in South Carolina. And so actually she shipped her works to me to have for the opening of the store. So
Mm.
absolutely, yes, I do. And so if you would like me to review your work and you live in a different state, you can email me at info@vclanegoods.com. That's info at vclanegoods.com. And you can also find my contact information on our website too at vclanegoods.com.
Okay, I'm going to put that up here for you all again, and especially for our podcast listeners too, over on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, and Amazon Music, and all of that. Here is VC VESEY Lanes, VC Lane,
Lane.
VC
Mhm.
Lane singular, goods plural, VCLaneGoods.com. You can email her at info@VCLaneGoods.com as well. And so submit your work and find out what the process is. And who knows, you maybe have a budding artist on your hands. And
Yeah.
who better than Robin M. Wilson to be able to help that talent grow and flourish in your young person. The person will clearly be in great hands if they're in Robin Wilson's hands. Okay. All right. Let's see. Somebody else made a comment. I say, yay! Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kimberly. Thank you for your question. And yes, we also, one of the things that I love about having our brick and mortar is that we're also able to invite the community to come in. We're not just a space where you can find unique greeting cards, gifts, and home decor, but you also will come into our space and you feel a sense of being at home. And that's what our customers have shared with me. And that was intentional on my part. I really want people, when they come through our door, to feel welcome and to know that, this is a space where we build community. And so we have different workshops that we offer every week. Every month, we have different programs that we host here in our store. So, for example, this Friday and Saturday, we actually have Blackbird Gallery here. They're coming to facilitate 4 ornament greeting, well, not greeting card, but ornament making workshops in there for children and their parents. And so we have 2 different times on Friday and we have 2 different times on Saturday, and there's still space. So if you are in the Detroit area and you're looking for something creative to do this weekend, you can also find the registration information under our upcoming events on our website, and you can join us. And so that's just one example of how we collaborate with different individuals in the community to bring programs into our store. And then we have a book club. We just launched a book club that we actually have our first book club meeting that's happening on this Thursday. And we're reading How It Happens by Jean Alicia Elster, who I shared with you about earlier. And she was actually our first artist and author who came to do a book reading and signing in our store in
Awesome.
September, or not September, it was October, excuse me. But she is not necessarily leading the book club, but I'm leading it and engaging the community and reading her book, because it's a book that I think that should be read broadly by the community. But we have a crochet gathering that happens every two 2 weeks that here in our store. We have different events. We have of course, the day after Thanksgiving is when everyone
Black
goes
Friday
to
or whatever.
shop. That's right. We have, her name is Charisma Robinson, and she
Okay.
made these. She's a local artist, and she will be here. We sell her creative keychains that you see right here.
Let me put that
And
over. Put it up a little bit higher. Let's see. That
okay.
is huge.
Yeah, she is so creative. And we have a holiday market that's coming up on the 29th and the 30th of this month, where you can not only meet her and you can support her artwork. But these are her keychains that she made. And you asked me
They are
earlier about.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that they're gorgeous, and she's going to be here on the 30th, which is a Saturday, the last Saturday in the month. And she's going to be a part of our holiday market. So, there's so many things that we have going on here in our store. And if there's something that you would like to bring to us, we also allow individuals to rent out the space for more intimate gatherings like networking events. We have a plant potting group that's coming in December, at the beginning of December. They just booked our space. They're going to lead a workshop for individuals who want to learn how to plant their I shouldn't say well, during the winter months, they are going to show individuals how to pot their plants so that they survive throughout the winter. And so we do different events throughout the year. Mm-hmm.
That's good. I mean, this is inspiring. You know what? I think that the reason that you come across so passionate and compassionate is because you really actually have a passion for even young people too. Well, first of all, let me acknowledge Kimberly said cute. And she also said, I just let her know, the person in her house, she said, she will reach out to you. P. Lux Artwork. So be on the lookout for it, is what she said.
I will be looking out for it. Yes, I'm so excited.
And then my mom is on too. She was like, hey, good morning, ladies. I am here watching and enjoying the show. Thank you, Mommy. Yay.
Yes.
This is good. You know what? Because you want to have diversity of talents and ability whenever you're encouraging your young people in your home to explore different things. That's why I always enjoy bringing on a wide variety of guests here on the Kim Jacobs Show. And Robin M. Wilson is showing us that being creative, using your skill sets, all of your talents can lead to a very successful entrepreneurial outcome for you. So I want to do this. Well, first of all, I'm going to take a break here. And before I take the break, I want to invite everybody to be a part of what's called the Profit Priority Challenge with eWomen Network. If you have not heard of eWomen Network, you're going to learn about it in a few seconds on the commercial break. But I do want to invite you. The Profit Priority Challenge begins today at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's with our founder, Sandra Yancey, and she's first of all a CNN hero, and she's also consulted with some of the top names in the world, IBM, Dell, different ones. So you're going to learn how your business and entrepreneurial journey can be extremely profitable to you. And for, I think it's like $5.66 per day for this challenge. It's like $17 for the challenge. You want to be a part of this profit challenge. And I gave you the information here on how it's called the Profit Challenge, ProfitPriorityChallenge.com, theprofitprioritychallenge.com. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come right back, I want to talk about that children's book that we're ready to transition, y'all. We'll be right back right after this break.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
All right, everyone, we are back. And yes, I'm the managing director in Charlotte, North Carolina, but wherever you are in the country, make sure that you check out eWomenNetwork.com and you can join as one of 118 chapters. Here on this Thursday coming up, which is the third Thursday of every month, we have what's called our eWomen Network Luncheon, Networking Luncheon. And we are going to have a speaker talking about being big, how to be big in entrepreneurship. And so make sure if you haven't registered that you go ahead and take a moment to go to eWomenNetwork.com/Charlotte and check out that event. And we welcome you to be a part of that power networking opportunity. All right. So talk to us, if you will. What in the world? How did you decide I'm going to be an artist? No, I'm going to also be a children's book author. Big difference.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I love children and I've always loved working with children. And so when I was in high school, I started writing poetry. And then I started to write feature articles as a part of my campus newspaper my first year in college.
Okay.
And later I started writing stories for children, and I would, before I even had any of my work published, I would be invited by different church youth groups to come out and to read to the young people. And because I was active in my church and I led like different summer Bible studies, like, for the Bible study camps, I knew a lot of the different youth leaders and different church leaders, and they knew that I had started to write for children. And what stands out to me is I remember there was a girl who was looking really intensely at the page that I was reading from. This was years ago, and I asked her if she had a question, and she said, "Where are the pictures?" And so, that really spoke life into my dream of having my work published, because she was looking for the pictures, that she had that expectation that there were going to be pictures. And even though there were not pictures at that time, when I was 24, I was 24 years old when my first children's book was published, and that was Mama Got Rhythm, Daddy Got Rhyme. And I'm honored because the illustrator was Mario Moore, and Mario Moore has gone on to do some amazing things. He's an internationally celebrated artist, but at the time, we both were just really starting out. It was my first children's book, and it was also his first book that he had ever illustrated. And he was still a student at the time at the College for Creative Studies in Detroit. And that was in 2009. And then in 2021 was when my first children's book was republished. The second edition was republished. And then this year, which is something I'm really excited to announce, my second children's book, which is called Jazzabit, an original jazz alphabet, is being released. It's being released next month, and I'm excited because I actually wrote Jazzabit, an original jazz alphabet, several years ago. And to be quite honest with you, even though I believed that it would be published at some point, it did win. It actually won a creative writing competition when I was a student at the University of Michigan, Dearborn. But when I was submitting my manuscript to different publishers, it faced rejection because they said that it did not have a plot and that it wasn't, it did not have a complete storyline, but it's a poem. It's a poem. And so that's much different from, fiction or
Right.
nonfiction. And so, I'm thankful that through an educational opportunity that I had 2 years ago, I was a Fulbright Hayes fellow to Brazil, and I went with my colleagues, my other teachers to Brazil to do some research and to work on a academic project. And while I was there, I met what is now who would become my publisher. And
Okay.
I want to acknowledge Editora Ogum Press. I want to acknowledge Mel and Gail for their commitment to my book and to bringing the vision to fruition, because they understood the poem. They understood that it was a poem. They understood and they saw like the vision behind what it could be, even with the illustrations. And so I had an opportunity to work with, her name is Rebecca Santos.
Okay.
She's a Afro-Brazilian illustrator, and I knew when they told me who the illustrator would be that I had heard that name before, but I knew that I had not met her. And then when I went back and looked at the books that I purchased when I was there the
Mhm.
first time 2 years ago, one of the books that I purchased, one of the children's books that I purchased while I was there in Brazil, she actually illustrated that book. And
And you
so
love
when
it.
I
Yes.
made the connection, yes, yes, when I made the connection, I was so excited because I know that she's phenomenal. Rebecca is phenomenal, and I hope that I have a chance to work with her again in the future. But Jazzabit and Original Jazz Alphabet is not only being published in English, but it was translated by Gail, and he is the co-publisher of Editorial Ogun Press, and
Yes.
he translated my poem so that children can not only read it in English, but they can also read it in Portuguese, which
Oh,
is the language
wonderful.
spoken in Brazil.
Well, it sounds like nothing again happens by happenstance. And I'm a big believer that God allows your paths to cross, not just cross, but to connect. So for a
Yes.
specific time as such as this is what's happening with what I'm observing. And so who knew that some of the writings and material that you already picked up would be the same illustrator that would be illustrating your work? And
That's
who
right.
knew that? But you were already
That's
fascinated
right.
with the work that she was doing even
That's
prior
right.
to learning that she was going to become your person, if that makes sense. So
That's right.
how in your opinion did that Brazil experience, that Fulbright Hayes GPA Brazil fellowship that you participated in, lend to your new venture with your book, the outcome of your book? How did that all simultaneously work together from your perspective?
It broadened my community. I'm now connected to other artists in Brazil, specifically in Salvador Bahia, which I've come to regard as, like a second home, because whenever I'm there, I'm always embraced. And part of home from my perspective is the places where you're embraced, where you're shown love, where you're appreciated.
Mhm.
And so, in addition to Mel and Gail, I know their mother, for example, Paula, she was one of our guides when we were there as a Fulbright Hayes Fellowship cohort. And she made sure that we got to where we needed to go and that we understood the history behind the spaces that we were occupying at that time. And so every time I see Paula, she's always kind. She's a gentle person. There's other artists who I've come to know from my Fulbright Hayes experience, who whenever I go back, and I was just there this year in July, I had an opportunity to go back, and I visited different schools, and I had a chance to read to different children and parents, and to engage with them and talk about my book. And so I'm looking forward to going back. Every time I go back, I'm always embraced and I'm given a warm welcome, and I appreciate that.
That is a true blessing. And I think, again, all of the gifts and talents that God has given you and trusted you with, you're putting them to great use, no matter where they are around the globe. You're housed in Detroit, Michigan. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're talking today with artist, entrepreneur, author, business owner, Robin M. Wilson, and she is talking about creative entrepreneurship, how she's used all of these different gifts and talents to be able to put them to use in many different regards. So one thing that you are also is an adjunct professor. And how did you use your adjunct professorship to blend in from a balance perspective with your art work and being able to inspire and encourage your students?
Yes. So actually, interestingly, the opportunity to teach at the University of Detroit Mercy also came through my Fulbright Hayes experience, because Laura Wasner, who is our department chair, and she was currently she's my department chair, but she was my former advisor when I was a Fulbright Hayes fellow. And she approached me about the opportunity to teach at the University of Detroit Mercy following my fellowship period. And I embraced the opportunity because, as I shared with you the last time that we were together, one of the pivoting moments for me, or one of the reasons that I pivoted from teaching full time in the elementary classroom, was because I had an ischemic stroke 3 years ago. And so for your listening audience who may not have known that, I'm sharing that because I never lost my desire to teach. I never will. I think I'm always going to be an educator, and I feel confident and comfortable with being an educator, an entrepreneur, an author, and everything else that I do, like, because to me, they're just, those things are just extensions of who I am. But, at the end of the day, I'm a human being. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister, and just like you, anyone who is listening, I have to try to balance things out myself. But again, going back to what I shared with you earlier, I'm thankful that I have a strong support, because I think we all need support. And I understand and I recognize that my support that I have also allows me to be able to do the things that I do and to do them well. So when Laura asked me if I would consider teaching at the University of Detroit Mercy, I was open to that because I had already had some time to rest. I was no longer teaching in the elementary school classroom, but I was embarking on my journey to becoming a full-time entrepreneur. But I say that it was a blessing because I knew that I still really wanted to teach following having my stroke. But I knew that I needed a different teaching setting. When you teach in the elementary school classroom, you do not have a lot of breaks throughout your day. You just don't. That's just not the structure and the makeup of the environment. And I knew that I could still teach, and I was thankful for that, but I knew that I needed some breaks throughout my day. And so by teaching at the university level, I'm able to engage with my students. I'm able to teach, but I'm also able to have the breaks that I need throughout my day. And I also have the freedom and the flexibility to be able to run my business full time outside of my teaching schedule. So I teach online, and I also teach a course in person in the mornings. And so that's twice a week. And I just pick my days that I know I'm going to do my grading. I pick my days when I know that I'm going to, give my assignments. it's all about structure for me, because if I can structure my schedule, it doesn't mean that sometimes I have to move things around. Sometimes I
Right, of
do,
course.
but I've created a structure for myself that works for me. Now, it may not work for everyone else, but
That's
I've created a structure that works for me. And I actually find that when I'm able to be creative, like that's relaxing to me. So even though I know there may be some individuals who are listening, it's like, what? She creates greeting cards and she works with all these artists and she does all these things. I'm like, those things bring me joy.
that's a
Those
good
things are
thing.
not, those things are not stressful to me,
So
And so, yes,
I was just going to say, so what tips would you share? Because one of the things you're saying is you're passionate about your interest. So some of the people that are tuning in today may want some tips on how they can transition their passion into a viable business. Are there any tips you can share with people today for creative entrepreneurship?
absolutely. Yes, I would say do your research and commit your plans to paper. Before I opened my brick and mortar, I solidified my business plan. I had an opportunity to go through what's called Capital Connect, which is a program that helps entrepreneurs get their businesses capital ready. And this program is offered through the Black Business Alliance. Michigan Black Business Alliance is the name of the organization. Now, it's a Michigan-based organization. Still, if you do not live in the state of Michigan, I encourage you to look at your business ecosystem in your city where you live and find the programs that support entrepreneurs, incubators. They call them entrepreneur incubators and
Yeah.
or economic incubators. And so they're all over the United States. So wherever you are, find programs that support entrepreneurs, and then find a mentor. You can go through the Small Business Association, and you can go online and you can request a mentor. So all of us have our strengths, and we also have our areas for growth. And so, whatever your areas are for growth, look for a mentor who can help you in those areas. Look for programs that will support your growth and your vision for building your business. And Kai, who is a part of the Michigan Black Business Alliance, he used to say to us when I was in the fellowship program, he used to say, no one likes to hear that their baby is ugly, but sometimes, you have to be told that your baby is ugly in order to make it better. So, I'm saying that just to say, like, even if you get into a program, and when you get into the program, even if someone tells you that your baby is ugly, don't be discouraged. Try to take the meat and leave the bones. Like, sometimes there are things that that we need to hear, and sometimes there's things that need to be tweaked or revised or just thrown out altogether. But I think that if you find your community, if you commit your plan to paper, and then walk it out and give yourself some grace, know that you're always going to have challenges that come your way. But if you're passionate about what you do, and I think that's one thing that makes a successful entrepreneur in general, but especially a creative entrepreneur, then you can make it. You can make it, but make sure that you are surrounding yourself with the right people. That's key too, because it's okay if someone tells you that your baby is ugly, if they're giving you corrective criticism and they're trying to help you. Don't get me wrong, but it's something altogether different if someone's just trying to tear you down and they're not trying to build you up. Surround yourself with people who are going to build you up, and believe in yourself,
That's right. That's right.
believe in yourself.
Good advice, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, so anybody that's taking notes over there, make sure you do your research, which is what Robin is saying. Make sure you commit it to writing. Make sure you write it down. Don't just have it in your
Right.
thoughts. And even if people are criticizing you, we know that that's the illustration that she's using regarding the baby scenario. But whether your baby cute or ugly, guess what? It's your baby. Thank God for your baby, and go about your business and be grateful that God has blessed you with that baby, and make it be
That's
the very
right.
beautiful blessing that God had intended for it to be, him or her to be. That's what I'll say. And so it
Yeah,
meaning equivalent to your project, it being
that's
the
right.
project. Okay. All right. So
Yes.
you can make it as a business owner, entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Mackenzie, for typing that point back there. And I see a lot of you all that are on today. I do want to take a moment to encourage you. Hey, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, I see you on. I see you, Viola. I see you, Pastor Stacy. Oh, speaking of Pastor Stacy, I have to just do, you know how you're talking about all the shout outs that you're talking about, right? To people that are
Yeah.
just so deserving of honor. I was prophesied to by a person in our church, and she was like, "Oh, you know what, Kim? This building that you're in is kind of expensive, and blah blah blah." And so God put in her spirit that within less than 30 days, somebody was going to reach out to me about this building, and I was like, "That's not possible." I didn't think. Here I am questioning things.
Yeah.
Literally, this couple, a pastor and pastor's wife, were on a cruise, and they're not even in
Wow.
the country. They reach out and communicate to me based on Pastor Margaretta referring me and all of this stuff happening. Bottom line is, I
Yeah.
get a call and I'm talking with Pastor Johnny and Pastor Stacy Brown, and they have a church. They also have an event venue space. Do you know immediately? I'm talking about within the same week. They said
Mhm.
we could start utilizing the event venue space immediately.
Look at God.
That is nothing but God, and it is a
Look at that.
beautiful, beautiful space. So I just want to say
Yes.
thank you, because I see you on there, Pastor Stacy. Just thank you for even being kind and compassionate enough to consider somebody else in that's new and upcoming in this world of being a pastor representing God. I think that's just a true testament to God, the kindness that you all have shown to us, and the willingness to work at that level. I mean, it's a significant decrease in price for our church. So I just want to say thank you. Yeah.
So
You should always give honor
awesome.
where honor is due. Everybody.
That's right. That's so awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I saw a lot of other people. I see you all. Clarissa Irvin. I see you, Mom. I see you. I see all of you all. I hope I didn't. Eleanor Campbell. I see you. I see you, Mother Trudy Walker. She's one of our church mothers. So I'm so glad that you all are here. But listen, take a moment, if you will, and partner with us today. The only way that this broadcast is able to come on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time and bring balance to your household is through community partnership. So I'm not doing like a telethon or anything right now, but what I'm asking you to do is to pour into the Kim Jacobs Show. You can do that
Yes.
through Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc. You can also do it through PayPal, paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Or if you have Venmo, at the Kim Jacobs Show. Some people like to use Zelle. You can Zelle 704-962-7161. And we also have some membership programs as well if you'd like to do more like long-term membership things. So let's take a picture right quick, because sometimes people put me on Facebook and they put me on
Yes.
any kind of way. And I'm like, wait, don't screenshot until I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay. Do some kind of picture. Just in case y'all try to put me on Facebook. All right. No, thank you all for those that already support the Kim Jacobs Show. We greatly appreciate it. And Robin, you are doing a phenomenal job of making a difference. I wanted to put one of your pieces of artwork up, and we're getting ready to end. But look at that.
Yes.
Tell us about that beautiful quilt.
Yes. This is one of my crochet story quilts, and it honors my family. We know that our family on my maternal side have been here in the United States for 241 years. And at the bottom of the quilt, I used mud cloth for the border, and I used African waxed fabric to I hand cut out all of the letters that spells out my ancestors' names. Those are my ancestors who were enslaved, at the bottom of the quilt. And then I wrote a manifesto, so to speak, that lines the other sides of the quilt. And it talks about our resilience. It talks about our brilliance, our strength as a people in general. For those of us whose ancestors were brought here through the transatlantic slave trade, we're resilient. We survived. We made it. And when many people did not, and you see the images on the actual quilt, are pictures of my family and ribbons that family members of mine signed. And at our family reunion in June of this year, I sold them on with the help of a friend, Donetta Dye, who I mentioned to you earlier. She actually helped me sew on the photos and ribbons. And the crochet part that you see, it took me 4.5 months to finish that because it's 9 feet tall and it's 17 feet wide. And it was a labor of love.
Oh my gosh. You can tell you put your heart and soul into that piece. And I'm just so grateful that you allowed us to display it here today. If you all will please make sure you take a moment to visit VeseyLaneGoods.com, VeseyLaneGoods.com. You can also email info@VeseyLaneGoods.com and follow her on Instagram and Facebook as well. And know about her upcoming book release that's coming out real soon. Hopefully you'll come back and debut it here, Jazzabet, which is an original jazz alphabet. And then you can also currently get one of her existing poetry children books, which make sure we're clear, it's a poetic rendition of Mama Got Rhythm, Daddy Got Rhyme. And you definitely want to grab your copy of that on Amazon. Any closing comment? And we're going to get ready to end today. So tell us a closing comment.
Yes, I just want to say thank you once again for having me. And I hope that the information that I share with your listening audience was of a benefit. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come back and just merge, have everything collide, all of the different gifts and the talents that God has given you, especially over this holiday season that's happening. If Robin can do it, we can all do it. So it's just a matter of sitting down, taking some time and doing some bite-sized pieces of how am I going to put to use what God has gifted me to do. And then guess what? Start doing it. Start doing it. There are a lot of benefits to you just getting going. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm Kim Jacobs, host here at the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world. And we brought it to the world today through Robin M. Wilson. So thank you for being my guest. Thank you, Mackenzie, backstage. And thank you all in the studio audience. I love you all. Y'all be encouraged. Stay backstage, Robin. Have a great one.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. I love this episode.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.